My neighbor's dog kept destroying my lawn, and when I complained, she laughed. You're lucky to have my precious baby visit your yard. When I put up a fence, she cut it down and smirked. You can't keep him out. As animal control drove away with her dog, I folded my arms and said, You're right, now no one can. I live in a quiet neighborhood just outside Houston, Texas. The kind of place where people wave when they drive by, kids ride their bikes in the evening, and for the most part, people respect each other's space. Then there's Monica. Monica moved in about a year ago with her giant, unruly golden retriever, a dog she named Bear. And I need to make this clear, this dog was not some friendly, well-behaved pet. He was a destructive, chaotic force of nature. The first time I saw him, he was tearing through my lawn, trampling my flower beds, and leaving a massive pile of crap right in the middle of my driveway. At first, I figured it was a one-time thing. Dogs get out sometimes, accidents happen. But the next morning, there was another pile. Same spot. And the next day? More holes in my lawn, shredded flowers, and another steaming pile of proof that Monica didn't give a crap, literally. So I walked over and knocked on her door. She answered in silk pajamas, holding a wine glass even though it was barely noon. Hey, I said, keeping my voice polite. I think Bear's been getting into my yard a lot. Do you mind keeping him on a leash? She laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, come on, you're lucky to have my precious baby visit your yard. I stared at her, waiting for her to say she was joking. She wasn't. It's really messing up my lawn, I said. Maybe you could put up a fence or something? She waved a hand like I was being ridiculous. Fences are so ugly. And anyway, Bear is free-spirited. You can't just keep him out. And with that, she shut the door in my face. I walked back home, thinking maybe she just needed time to process the fact that her dog was a problem. Maybe she'd come around. She didn't. Over the next few weeks, it got worse. Bear was in my yard every single day. Dug up my garden. Knocked over my trash cans. Chewed the corner of my porch. Destroyed my sprinklers. Every morning, I had to hose down his crap before I could walk to my car without stepping in it. I tried talking to Monica again. Same result. She laughed, shrugged, and told me to relax. So I put up a fence. Not just any fence, a tall, solid, expensive fence. One that would definitely keep her dog out. It cost me nearly $5,000, but I figured if Monica wasn't going to be responsible, I'd take matters into my own hands. 2 days later, I walked outside and stopped dead in my tracks. The fence was gone. Not broken. Not knocked over. Cut down. I stood there in shock, staring at the jagged, splintered remains of my brand new fence. And there, standing in my yard with a smirk on her face, was Monica. Told you, she said, sipping her coffee. You can't keep him out. I felt my blood pressure spike. Did you just? I started, my voice shaking with anger. Oh, please. She rolled her eyes. It was blocking the view. You can't just put up a wall like that. Bear loves your yard. Be grateful. I was speechless. I called the police. They told me it was a civil matter unless I had proof that she did it. Fine. If the cops wouldn't do anything, I would. I went full nuclear mode. First, I installed security cameras everywhere. High up, motion-activated, night vision, the works. Then I started documenting everything. Every time Bear came onto my property? Video. Every time I found another pile of crap? Timestamp photos. Every time my yard got torn up? More photos. And then I called animal control. The first time? They gave her a warning. The second time? A fine. The third time? They took Bear away for a week. Monica lost her damn mind. She banged on my door so hard I thought she was going to break it down. You're harassing me, she screamed. You can't just call animal control every time he wanders over. I smiled. Oh, come on, Monica, I said. You're lucky to have them visit your yard. She looked like she was about to explode. And yet, the next day, Bear was back in my yard. At this point, I realized Monica wasn't going to stop. So I took it a step further. I called my lawyer. Turns out, in Texas, if a dog trespasses multiple times and causes property damage, the owner can be sued for damages and, if proven to be a nuisance, the court can revoke ownership rights. With my security footage, my documentation, and animal control reports, I had a solid case. I filed a lawsuit. When Monica got the court papers, she scoffed. You're kidding, she said, laughing like I was a joke. No, Monica. I was dead serious. When Monica got the lawsuit papers, she didn't take it seriously. She rolled her eyes, waved the papers in the air, and muttered something about people these days being too sensitive. I thought maybe, just maybe, this would scare her into backing off. It didn't. Instead, she doubled down. The morning after she was served, I woke up to find my front yard trashed. My mailbox? Smashed in half. My security camera at the front door? Ripped off. Garbage? Scattered across my lawn. And, of course, a fresh pile of dog crap on my welcome mat. I checked my security footage. Guess what? Someone had spray painted my camera lens black. Real subtle, Monica. I called the police again, but unless I had footage of her doing it, all I had was circumstantial evidence. Fine. I was done playing defense. I replaced my security cameras, but this time, I went bigger. One camera on a higher pole, covering my entire front yard. A hidden trail cam behind some bushes. A dummy camera, big, obvious, and right by the porch. A week later, around 1 a.m., I got a motion alert. I checked the feed. There she was. Hood up, creeping through my yard. She took one look at the dummy camera, smirked, and sprayed it black. Then she walked right past it, completely unaware of the hidden trail cam recording every second of her crime. I watched as she took a bag of garbage, dumped it on my porch, and kicked over my potted plants. Then, she pulled a pocket knife out of her hoodie and sliced open my car tires. I sat there stunned. This wasn't just some petty neighborhood drama anymore. This was vandalism and destruction of property, both of which could get her arrested. The next morning, I calmly walked outside, took high-quality photos of the damage, and then walked back inside. I didn't confront her. I didn't send a single message. Instead, I went straight to the police station and filed a formal complaint. They weren't so dismissive this time. The moment I showed them the footage, everything changed. Suddenly, it wasn't just a civil matter anymore. Trespassing? Check. Vandalism? Check. Destruction of property? Check. Evidence? Oh, I had plenty. A detective actually came to my house later that afternoon. He watched the footage and nodded. Yeah, we can definitely do something about this. Monica got a knock on her door that evening. I stood by my window and watched as she answered. She looked confused at first, then angry, then furious as the officer started asking questions. A few minutes later, she was in handcuffs. I won't lie, I smiled. But even then, I knew Monica wasn't done. And I was right. Because the next day, someone slashed the tires on my other car. And I knew for a fact Monica hadn't done it. She was still in jail. Which meant, someone else was helping her. This wasn't just a one-woman war anymore. And I had no idea who I was up against. After Monica got arrested, I thought maybe, just maybe, this nightmare was over. I was wrong. Because the next morning, I walked outside to find my other car sitting on 4 slashed tires. Monica was still in custody, so unless she had mastered telekinesis from a jail cell, she wasn't the one who did it. Which meant somebody else was helping her. I checked my cameras. Nothing. Whoever did this knew about my security setup. They avoided my yard, avoided the obvious angles, and only targeted my car, which was parked just outside the camera's line of sight. That meant they either got lucky, or they had inside information. Now, Monica wasn't exactly Miss Popular in the neighborhood, but she wasn't completely alone either. She had this one friend, a sleazy, greasy-looking guy named Rick. Rick was the kind of guy who always had a beer in one hand and a cigarette in the other, no matter the time of day. I'd seen him hanging around her place before. Sometimes he'd glare at me when I walked by, like he was waiting for an excuse to start something. I had a strong feeling it was him. But strong feelings don't hold up in court. I needed proof. So I did the one thing I never thought I'd have to do. I hired a private investigator. This wasn't some dramatic TV show where I had a guy in a trench coat following people. It was just a guy I found online, a retired cop who ran a small PI business. I showed him the situation, gave him Rick's name, and let him do his thing. In the meantime, I did something even more important. I got a lawyer. Because Monica? She was out on bail. And the first thing she did when she got home? I came home to find a thick envelope in my mailbox. I opened it up and nearly laughed out loud. Monica was suing me for harassment, defamation, emotional distress. She was actually trying to claim that I was the one making her life hell. Unbelievable. I called my lawyer immediately. He wasn't even surprised. She's bluffing, he said. She has no case. But still, this meant I had to go to court again. And I was already planning something for that day. A week later, my private investigator called me up. Got something for you. He handed me a USB drive and some printed photos. Rick, the greasy, cigarette-smelling moron, had been bragging at a bar about taking care of a problem for Monica. And the best part? The bar had security cameras. They had footage of him literally telling a bartender that he slashed some tires because Monica was paying him. I almost couldn't believe my luck. I took everything straight to the police. They took one look at the footage and went, "Yep, that'll do it." The day of the court hearing, Monica walked in like she had already won. She had her lawyer, her ridiculous lawsuit, and this smug little smirk on her face like she couldn't wait to see me squirm. Then the judge looked at me. "Do you have anything you'd like to present before we proceed?" I smiled. "Yes, Your Honor," I said. And then I handed over the USB drive. The judge watched the video. Then he looked at Monica. Then he looked at Monica's lawyer. And then he said, "You still want to proceed with this lawsuit?" Her lawyer turned to her and whispered something, but I could already see it. She knew she was screwed. Her fake confidence collapsed in real time. And then, Rick was arrested right there in the courthouse. But somehow, someway, Monica still wasn't done. Because as they dragged Rick away, she turned to me, eyes full of rage. And she whispered something under her breath. I couldn't hear it, but I could read her lips. "You're gonna regret this." And I knew, in that moment, this fight wasn't over. Rick was arrested in the courthouse, but Monica barely reacted. She didn't cry, she didn't scream. She just stood there, lips pressed tight, her fists clenched. But when she looked at me, really looked at me, her eyes weren't full of fear. They were full of rage. "You're gonna regret this," she whispered. It was barely audible, but I saw her lips form the words, and that was enough. I walked out of the courthouse feeling drained. I should have felt victorious, but instead I just felt tired. Monica wasn't just some annoying neighbor anymore. She was unhinged, and I knew she wasn't going to just accept defeat. And I was right. That night, around midnight, my security system sent an alert to my phone. Motion detected. I pulled up the live feed and felt my stomach drop. There, standing on my lawn, was Monica. She wasn't alone. She had brought a gas can. I didn't even hesitate. I called 911 immediately. As I spoke to the dispatcher, I watched Monica on the screen. She wasn't in a hurry. She moved slowly, like she was thinking through every step. She poured the gas along the edge of my fence, soaking the wood. Then she pulled something out of her pocket, a lighter. I didn't even think. I rushed outside, phone still in hand, the dispatcher telling me to stay inside, but I wasn't going to just stand by and watch my property burn. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I shouted. Monica froze, startled that I was actually confronting her. But then, she grinned. Like she was enjoying this. "You think you can ruin my life?" she spat. "You think you can just take everything from me?" I took a step forward, my voice firm. "You did this to yourself, Monica." Her eyes flashed. "You don't know anything." She flicked the lighter on, the small flame glowing between us. And in that moment I saw it, the crack in her mask. She wasn't just some arrogant neighbor. She was desperate. She had nothing left. "Put it out," I said. She just shook her head, eyes wide and unblinking. "You don't understand. I lost everything because of you." "Because of you," I corrected. She let out a hollow laugh. "Bear is gone. My money is gone. My job fired me when I got arrested. Rick's in jail. I have nothing left. But you? You still have your perfect little house, your perfect little yard." Tears welled up in her eyes, but her face twisted in something that was almost a smile. "But not for long." She moved to drop the lighter. And then, red and blue lights flooded the street. The police had arrived. 2 officers rushed toward her, guns drawn. "Drop it!" one of them barked. For a second, I thought she was actually going to go through with it. But then, something in her broke. She let out this shaky breath, then she dropped the lighter. It hit the ground, flames still flickering, but it didn't catch. The police grabbed her arms, yanked them behind her back, and slapped the cuffs on. She didn't fight. She didn't scream. She just stood there, staring at the ground. I watched as they loaded her into the back of the squad car, her face blank, her body slumped. And for the first time since this nightmare started, I felt relief. A few days later, I got a call from a detective handling her case. "You were right to be worried about her," he said. Apparently, Monica had been spiraling for months. She was deep in debt, and when she lost her job, she had no way to pay for anything. She was living off of Rick's money, which, surprise, came from dealing drugs on the side. When I got her arrested, that cut off her only income. So in her twisted mind, I wasn't just a nosy neighbor. I was the reason she lost everything. She was desperate, the detective said. And desperate people do stupid things. Yeah. No kidding. Monica was charged with attempted arson, trespassing, and vandalism. With the security footage, the 911 call, and my testimony, there was no way she could worm her way out of this one. She took a plea deal. 3 years in prison. And after that? She wasn't allowed to come within 500 feet of my property. I never saw her again. For weeks after it all ended, I kept expecting something else to happen. Another threat. Another attack. But there was nothing. No more slashed tires. No more dog crap on my driveway. No more feeling like I had to look over my shoulder every time I walked outside. One evening, I stood on my porch, looking at my perfectly intact fence, my untouched garden, my clean driveway, and I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Looking back, I still can't believe how insane it all got. But if I learned anything, it's this: some people don't care about consequences until it's too late. And when someone shows you exactly who they are, believe them. Because I sure as hell do now.